Hi guys, here we go. Open workout 20.2. I hope you all had a good week last week. I'm looking forward to building on that this week. Obviously, this workout is slightly different to last week. It's going to be longer in duration for everybody, not just those of you who might have reached the time cap. And it's a very different kind of stimulus, and we're going to go into it with a different kind of mindset. Okay, so obviously, again, in this video, I'm just going to go through kind of the different strategies, the different pacing strategies, how you might break things up depending on where you're at with the movements that are in this workout. Obviously, your warm up, and then a little bit on kind of like your mental approach towards this workout. Okay, so obviously the workout is a 20-minute AMRAP of 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to bar, and then 24 double unders. Okay, so you got a few different elements in there, which we haven't seen dumbbell thrusters before in the open, but then also there's a couple of different things to think about in terms of your rep scheme, in terms of your strategy, in terms of how you might break those movements up if you need to. Okay, so that's what we're gonna go through. Before we do all that, then we're going to start off just having a chat through your warm up. Okay, so obviously you've got your dumbbell thrusters in there. Now the difference between dumbbell and barbell thrusters is obviously in that front rack position, and that can make quite a big difference to your positioning if you're someone who hasn't spent a lot of time doing these kind of movements. Okay, so what can tend to happen with dumbbell thrusters in particular as you get tired is you can start to either get pulled onto your toes, or your front rack position starts to drop, which makes it much more fatiguing and makes it harder to transfer the power from your legs into your overhead press. Okay, so obviously we've got 20 minutes to work through, so we want to make sure you're moving as efficiently as possible. Okay, so if that sounds like you, then you want to make sure that you're spending a good bit of time mobilizing your hips, obviously, your ankles to help you sit back on your heels a little bit more, and of course that overhead position, so looking at your lats, shoulders, chest, triceps, that whole area. Okay, and obviously once you've mobilized those areas, they're also going to help you with your toes to bar and your double unders. Okay, again, your overhead position, your shoulders, your ankles, all things we need nice and warm before we start either of those two movements as well. Okay, so that's your initial warm up. From there, I just want you to jump on the rower. You're just going to go for 5 minutes, a nice kind of consistent pace. Okay, you don't need to be going out too hot, and use this time whilst you're preparing. Obviously you're going to get your heart rate elevated, you're going to get into a good breathing rhythm, but also use this time to forget about any distractions that you might have before you start the workout and just focus on the task at hand. Okay, you've got 20 minutes to get through, so you need to keep your focus throughout. You can't afford your mind starting to wander. Okay, from there we're going to do just some basic movement work, warm up those movement patterns but in a more controlled way. Okay, so I just want you to work through 2 sets of 10 dumbbell shoulder to overhead, 10 dumbbell front squats, 10 beat swings, and then 20 single unders. Okay, so obviously there we're just making sure that all the movement patterns we're going to be using in the workout, so obviously that overhead position, your kip, your squat, and then obviously just warming up your double unders by working through those single unders in a much more controlled way. Okay, so you don't need to go heavy, you don't need to go fast. At this point, I just want you thinking about efficient movement. Okay, making sure everything's nice and warm. You don't get any restrictions anywhere in any of the movements that you might need to, or you might be able to fix before we start. And again, use this time to help you focus on what you're going to be doing. Okay, from there, I want you to warm up your thrusters to your working weight and your toes to bar. Okay, and then I want you to just go through 3 practice rounds. So through the 4 thrusters, through the 6 toes to bar, and the 24 double unders, but with a 90 seconds rest in between. Okay, now obviously that we're going to be working at workout intensity, but you've got that rest, and I want you to just keep a mental note of how long each of those rounds takes you. Okay, you're going to need that later on when we talk about your pacing. All right, from there, give yourself a good rest, get yourself focused, and then make a start on the workout. Okay, so the workout itself, obviously, depending on where you're at, there's going to be a couple of different approaches you can take. All right, the first approach is going to be going unbroken the whole way. All right, now if you can comfortably do the thrusters and toes to bar and the double unders, obviously it goes without saying, that's going to be the fastest way to get through the workout. Okay, if you might find, or if you think that you might need to break one of those movements, then it's important to kind of be aware of that from the start. Okay, so with your dumbbell thrusters, I would focus on trying to maintain unbroken sets for as long as possible. Okay, you don't really want to have to break those 4 reps if you don't need to. Okay, whereas your toes to bar, on the other hand, if you think you are going to have to break those, then it's better off breaking it from the start. Okay, obviously your grip, your hips are going to take quite a lot of work throughout this workout, and that's going to kind of manifest itself in your toes to bar starting to break down. Okay, so if you think that's going to be an area where you're going to struggle, then I would break those either 3-3, 4-2, whichever kind of works best for you, from the beginning of the workout. Okay, now on your double unders, you want to use this time just to try and kind of not necessarily catch your breath, but control your breathing. Okay, so stay relaxed, focus on really efficient technique, so don't tense up through your upper body. Okay, and again, aim to get through those 24 unbroken if you know that you can do consistent sets and that isn't going to be too fatiguing for you. But if you do need to break, then you can break in the later rounds, but try and keep the earlier rounds unbroken, pick up some time there. Okay, now a key thing on this workout is your transition time. You're going to have a lot of transitions, A, because it's 20 minutes, but B, because the rep scheme is pretty kind of low reps for these movements. Okay, so first thing is just to think about your layout. So make sure you have your rig, make sure you have your dumbbells at one side, and then you have your rope at the other side. Okay, so kind of in that triangle shape, which is going to mean that you can move easily from one movement to the next as you work through the triplet. Okay, any kind of, over the number of rounds that you're going to accumulate on this workout, even just a small like 4 or 5 second transition between each movement is really going to start to add up. And you know, if you add all that time up, by the time you get to the end of the workout, you're easily talking like an extra round. Okay, your rounds are going to be reasonably short. All right, so be aware of that. Think about your setup, and then think about your mental approach to that transition. You've got to be disciplined. Okay, obviously your heart rate's going to be elevated. Even if you rest, you're not going to recover. As soon as you start moving again, you're going to get fatigued. Okay, so much like I said on the last workout, keep your discipline. All right, it's gonna be tough regardless of whether you rest or not. So try and keep that rest time to an absolute minimum. Okay, have chalk on hand if you need chalk, so that you can constantly move through that triangle of movements. Okay, now with your strategy itself, your pacing strategy. Okay, obviously, like we say, it's a 20-minute workout. Okay, so this workout is going to reward those who are most consistent, not those who have fasted on the first 2 or 3 rounds. Okay, so obviously from your warm-up, you have a good idea of how long each round is going to take, and it's perfectly plausible that each round is going to take around a minute, especially when you're fresh. Okay, inevitably there's going to be some kind of drop off, but what we want to aim to do on this workout is make each split as consistent as possible. Okay, so that means on your first round, there's no need to fly out the gates. Okay, you want to move at a pace which is efficient for you, effective for you, and is going to help you keep moving through those movements with as few breaks as possible and as small a transition time as possible. Okay, what we don't want you doing is doing your first 5 rounds at absolute lightning speed and then having to take longer breaks as you get further and further into the workout. Okay, and again, like I say, it's a 20-minute workout, so inevitably the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes is going to be when you're most focused on what you're doing. Okay, but the key is that middle 10 minutes. Okay, if you can stay consistent through that middle 10 minutes, you're really going to set yourself up well for a bit of a sprint finish at the end, if you've got it in you. Okay, which obviously hopefully you will. And obviously with that, you need to make sure through that middle 10 minutes is that you're keeping your mental focus. Okay, it's easy for your mind to drift. That's why I want to clear your mind before you start the workout. Okay, if you can, get your judge to shout out your split times. Okay, so you've got a target to aim for. That's going to help keep you focused. All right, and ignore what's going on around you. Okay, don't focus on what the person next to you is doing. If they want to go out fast, let them go out fast. You focus on your race. You know how long your round should take you. You know how you need to break, and you know how little transition time you can take to keep moving consistently through the workout. Okay, so focus on that. All right, focus entirely on what you're doing. Stay focused through that middle 10 minutes, and that's going to help you get the best possible score. Okay, in terms of rounds, you know, it's more than likely we're going to see kind of 20 rounds plus. All right, so like I say, set yourself a target based off your practice rounds, based off if you can go through those movements unbroken or not. But then make sure that, you know, just prepare yourself. You're going to be doing a lot of rounds, so keep your transition time to a minimum. Okay, good luck. Keep me updated with how you're getting on. Let us know if you've got any questions, and we'll see you next week.